This is Scott Becker with the Becker Private Equity and the Becker Business Podcast. I am thrilled today to be joined by an extraordinary leader. We're joined today by Holly Buckley. Holly chairs the healthcare department at McGuireWoods. She has a fascinating practice. She works at the intersection of healthcare and private equity with lots of private equity funds and invest almost exclusively in healthcare. She also does some magnificent work for hospitals and health systems, for large hospitals and health systems on their projects, their joint ventures, and really across the board on the legal needs for large health systems. Holly, can you take a moment to introduce yourself? And then after that, we'll talk about really two subjects today. First, what are you most focused on and excited about as we get to the second half of this year or moving into the second part of 2026? I guess really we're through the first quarter, but through the rest of the year. And then second, what are you seeing in the deal market currently, whether in the private equity space or in the healthcare space? What are some of your observations? Holly, can you take a second and just introduce yourself?
Yeah, thank you, Scott. So as you mentioned, I chair the healthcare practice at McGuireWoods. It's one of the oldest, most established healthcare legal practices in the country. And Scott was formerly the chair of the group 2 chairs back. And so honored to be in this seat. In terms of what I am focused on right now, I'd say there's probably kind of 3 things that immediately spring to mind. One, we are happily busy with some really great deals, and we'll talk more about the deal market, but it's great to be busy and great to see some big fun deals getting done and people active in the market. I would say the next thing is we have our annual Healthcare Private Equity and Finance Conference coming up in Chicago on April 29th and 30th at the Ritz. It's looking like it's going to be another great event. We have 2 days of sessions. We'll have another event at the Museum of Modern Art, and we have some great speakers, great fireside chats, and it's looking like it's going to be a fantastic event. So very excited about that. And the third thing I'd say is on the kind of department side, and that's just continued expansion and deepening of our group's expertise. Just last week, we had Greg Fosham, a partner in Chicago, come over and join us from another big established health law group. Greg has expertise in the lab space and does a lot of work with hospitals and health systems, and also continuing to deepen our ranks in the life sciences space. And we're just having some tremendous success on the recruiting front. So that takes a lot of time, but is something I'm super excited about.
Thank you. And talk about the recruiting front, because this is common not just in law but in other areas. What's working well in the recruiting space? Why is the culture that you've built with your team been so attractive for recruiting people to come to McGuireWoods?
I think it's an interesting mix of culture, which I'll talk about in a minute. But I think we have a really good balance of people who have been here for their whole careers, lifers, that kind of demonstrate that this is a place that people want to be in and are willing to stay at for a long time and make it a home. And then also having a good pool of people who have chosen to make this their home and have laterally recruited. And so having those success stories of people who have come over here and have been doing very well, along with the people who have been here for a long time who have welcomed them, I think is part of it. But I think from a culture perspective, as I go out and I meet with a lot of people at other firms, we just have certain characteristics about our culture that is a constant surprise to people that we're meeting with. And some of that is around how we work with each other, how we share credit, and how we approach things. It creates an environment where group success contributes to individual success and vice versa. And it's very interesting to me as I learn more about other firms' culture, as I meet with people, that some of the dynamics that are a key part of how we operate every day are not apparent and not visible and not existing in other firms. And so I know that sounds very vague and high level, and I don't want to get into too many specifics, but it really is a difference in how we view the world and in how we've embedded our culture into our compensation systems and other infrastructure. And so it's fascinating to learn about how others do it. And I think we do a lot right here.
No, I think that's exactly right. And just, from my own perspective, of course, I'm largely a lifer at the firm, been there for 30 plus years, including the firm that we were at before that merged into McGuireWoods 20 plus years ago. And just a wonderful, gracious, great place to practice law and to take care of clients and take care of people, which is what it all comes down to. Can you practice law at a really high level and take care of clients at a really nice level, and work with really good people? So I think you've hit it really right in terms of some of the attractiveness of McGuireWoods. Let me move on to talk to you a little bit about the deal environment today and what you're seeing. Famously, private equity is still sitting on a ton of exits and a ton of dry powder, money to spend. You've got both a ton of exits that want to get done, a ton of money that wants to get to work, and still people having trouble crossing that delta or crossing that chasm to hit that right in between. What do you see out there in the deal world? What's going on in the PE deal world?
Yeah, so I think 2025 was a really good, solid year. And I think 2026 is looking really pretty good as well. And I think it's clearly slower than things were in 2021, 2022, but it's a lot more disciplined, so more selective, more sophisticated. And I think we're seeing deals get done, and the deals that are getting done, people are looking to execute on very well, and really being very thorough in their plans pre-deal, during the whole period, and heading into exit. So I think just in general, we're seeing a lot more discipline. I think we're seeing a big focus on certain sectors. We're seeing focus on tech-enabled healthcare. We're seeing focus on behavioral health. We're seeing focus on healthcare IT, revenue cycle management, and we're seeing less focus on certain areas like I'd say specialty PPM, kind of really PPM people are getting pretty gun shy around. There's still deals getting done, but it's tending to be more by people who really know the space and know how they can be successful. And then I'd say we're also seeing a fair amount of longer hold periods looking to come to an end. So funds who have held assets for longer than they probably initially planned are kind of bringing them to market this year. And so I think we'll see some good exits this year as well. I'm sure we'll also see some exits that end up pulling back and not going all the way through, and maybe extending the whole periods a little bit longer. But I think we're going to see a fair amount of high quality good deals getting done this year.
That's fantastic. Holly, fantastic what you're doing. Tell us again, the McGuireWoods Healthcare Private Equity Conference is when exactly, and who could they get in touch with to learn more about the Healthcare Private Equity Conference? I know typically that's in the 22nd or 23rd year, attracts 1,000 plus healthcare private equity funds, deal professionals, leaders, et cetera, et cetera. Tell us again when that is and who people can get in touch with.
Yeah, so it's April 29th and 30th at the Ritz in Chicago. We have keynotes by Michael Lewis, author of Moneyball, and Abigail Wen, who's a prominent AI speaker and also an author. If anyone has questions, they're always welcome to get hold of me at hbuckley@mcguirewoods.com. They're also welcome to email our business development director, Harry, at hambizas, HAMBIZAS @mcguirewoods.com. Or you can message me on LinkedIn if you don't catch my email address. And happy to provide any details. We still have a couple of speaker slots, but the agenda's pretty well baked. The agenda is actually live on the website currently. And so, yeah, would love to see folks there. And if you do come to the conference, would love to meet with you. Feel free to shoot me a text, and would love to carve out some time and make introductions.
Fantastic. I know I'm thrilled to get a chance to interview a private equity founder, leader of Havencrest Funds. Haven Crest Healthcare, Christopher Kersey at the meeting as well, and should be a fantastic event. Holly Buckley, again, thank you for joining us on the Becker Private Equity and the Becker Business Podcast. Again, just fantastic and great leadership from Holly Buckley every day. Thank you.
Thank you.